Hello all, and welcome to another edition of the Citizen NFL Podcast. It's been quite a hiatus for us here. Took vacation off during most of training camp, but football season is here.
Indeed.
And also here is Mr. Robert Harding and Mr. Chris Sciria. Gentlemen, football season finally.
You don't say your name, you just act like the listeners know who.
Well, everybody knows.
Justin Ritzel, by the way. and maybe football season for some, but it's still not football season for my team. We still have another 10 days, 11 days. What is it here? Today's the 6th. Yeah, we got another 11 days for the opening of the football season, sadly.
Life goes on.
Well, for the 30 other teams that people actually care about, their seasons start this week. Just kidding.
That's okay.
People care about the Dolphins. You got Cutler. I mean, he's a hot topic.
Not as hot as he used to be, you know. But.
All right, guys. So today we're going to focus mostly on doing some predictions for team records. Mm-hmm. But before we get into that, obviously the big news coming out this morning was that due to the incoming hurricane, the Dolphins and Buccaneers will not be playing this week. The NFL decided those two teams who are scheduled to play in Miami on Sunday are actually going to be on a bye week this week, and they will play their games week 11 when both teams were scheduled to have their bye.
November 19th, for those who are paying attention. Mm-hmm.
Chris, this obviously affects your Dolphins in a big way. 16 straight weeks without a bye. Mm-hmm. Just what are your thoughts on the decision and kind of the process of the NFL deciding to do this?
Well, I think the NFL was really stuck between a rock and a hard place because there's no way you could have had the game early in South Florida. There was talk about moving it up to a Thursday or a Friday. You can't do that because the law enforcement people that you need at the stadium, they're going to be working for the storm. Even though the storm's not going to hit South Florida until Saturday, you can't have those officers, working a football game. So that kind of ruled out South Florida. Then there was a discussion that they were going to move it to a neutral site. And Robert and I were discussing this yesterday. There were so many NFL stadiums that were available. I mean, New Orleans, Carolina, Jacksonville, Atlanta. I mean, there were 4 stadiums that they could have went to. And then at night we heard Philadelphia and Pittsburgh were possibilities, which absolutely just stunned me because I'm thinking, like, why would you go that far north? But part of me was like, hey, if they're playing in Philly this weekend, 4.5-hour drive, I'm there. I'll go. What the heck? Tickets will be cheap. Won't be dealing with the unruly Eagles fans. But then this morning, like you said, they announced the decision, and it's the right decision. There's no perfect decision here. Someone is going to lose here, okay? And unfortunately, it's the teams because they're going to lose their much needed bye. For the Dolphins, like we were discussing before we got started, the Dolphins have to play on Monday night the week before the Buccaneers game now. So they have a Monday night game. I believe it's against the Panthers. And it's on the road. So then they have a short week, play at home against the Buccaneers, and then they have to go to New England with no bye beforehand. So it's going to hurt. There's no doubt about it. The Dolphins have had enough injuries this season, and they've been dealing with enough adversity. But, the way I look at it is that at least they know about it in advance. They can prepare for it. Maybe they do things during the week, during practice. Maybe they'll shorten practice by 30 minutes, a week or something. Or they'll just do something to compensate for not having a bye week and in some way or form to give these players a chance to be the best that they can be, the healthiest that they can be before they play. So there was no perfect scenario. I feel bad for the fans because I know that they were looking forward to the game on Sunday. But I'll tell you this: there was talk. Armando Salguero, the Miami Herald, wrote a column today saying they should cancel or move the London game because the Dolphins play in London in less than a month, and move the London game back to Miami because it's a Dolphins home game against the Saints. And there's no way the NFL's going to do that. There's no way the NFL's just going to throw away all that money. So, unfortunately, the Dolphins kind of get hosed, but I mean, that's life. There's a hurricane coming. That's the important thing. That is the main thing here, the hurricane. So I think the Dolphins will just have to make do, and whatever happens, happens.
I know we talked a little bit about it last night when it was being discussed that they might just switch the venue.
Yeah.
And we talked about how there's precedent for the NFL deciding to do that on short notice. Minnesota having to do that after the roof of their stadium caved in. They had to move over to the college football stadium. There's another example you brought up that it slips my mind right now, but
I think it was the Bills game a couple of years ago.
Yeah, the snowstorm.
But I guess what I kind of, I was reading Peter King's MMQB mailbag, and he pointed out, we kind of forget that these players, they're not just football players. They have families and stuff that are in Florida that they have to worry about. So, after kind of thinking about that, it sucks for the Dolphins. It sucks for the Buccaneers that they don't get a bye week, essentially. But they do get to focus on their personal stuff, which is the more important thing.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some players are going to get out of South Florida. I mean, there are flights out. They haven't closed the airports yet. It's expensive to fly out, but I mean, even a lower rung NFL player can probably swing a $5,000 flight out of Miami. If you're more entrenched in South Florida, like a Matt Moore, the backup quarterback who's been with the Dolphins since 2011, or Cameron Wake since 2009, these guys have houses, they have their families. I'm sure they're making accommodations to protect their families, either to get them out of South Florida or hunker down or something. I don't know exactly what, but that's the thing. The players are going to have a chance to weather this storm with their families if they have them down here, and I think that's the right decision from that standpoint.
Here's the only thing I have to add. That they do have a bye week. There's actually 2 bye weeks. It's called playing the Jets. Okay, so
yeah, you're not the only person who said that. I don't take the. I mean, look, it's easy to say, yeah, the Jets are going to be really bad and everything, but you never know what can happen.
Oh boy,
you never know what can happen. Okay, things.
Cool your Jets over there.
Yeah, it's pun intended. And I'll be at that Jets Dolphins game in a little over 2 weeks, and you just don't know. I mean, yeah, you still look when you say a bye week, you still have to prepare. You still have to hit. It's still physical. People can get hurt. I mean, you still have to play the game. Could it be an easy game? Could it be a rout? And maybe you take the starters out in the third quarter? Oh, absolutely. But you still have to physically prepare for that opponent, though. Whether it's the Jets, the 1976 Buccaneers, okay, the 1985 Buffalo Bills. I'll pick some bad teams for you there. All right, you still got to prepare for them.
The 2007 Dolphins.
There you go. You got to be.
Let's not leave out the Cam Cameron era.
There we go.
Come on, buddy.
Error. All right.
The only question about the Jets this year is whether they're going to lose by 10 every game or 20. And with that, let's jump into our season predictions here. Figured, the most people here care about the Bills. They care about some of the East Coast teams. So we'll make them wait for that. Let's start out west. Mm-hmm. And how about we'll start with the NFC, and we'll wrap up, make our way around eventually to the AFC East as the last team. NFC West. Your guys' thoughts on your records here for this division? Seahawks won it last year.
I have the Seahawks winning it, going 13-3 this year. Cardinals coming in second with a 10-6 mark, and then the Rams and 49ers kind of divvying up the basement with a few wins apiece. So.
I've got Seattle going 11-5, Arizona 9-7, and the Rams and the Niners each going 5-11.
All right, so we're pretty much all on the same page here. I have Seattle 12-4, Arizona 11-5, the Rams 5-11, the 49ers 3-13. Just quick thoughts. Cardinals were obviously a win away from the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Took a step back last year. It seems like we're all a little higher on them this year. Just kind of, what do you guys think about them?
Well, I mean, I got them 9-7 and not making the playoffs. I think they take a step back. I think this is a veteran team. It's a year older, and I think the tread's going to start showing on the tires. I mean, 9-7 is respectable. Don't get me wrong. They could sneak in, but I just think this is. I mean, Carson Palmer. If something happens to him, the Cardinals are in trouble. So I'm like I said, they're still one of the better teams, but I don't think they're a playoff team by much, and I don't think they get it done this year.
Yeah, to me it comes down to Carson Palmer for the Cardinals. I have them going 10-6, but I think they could be better. If Carson Palmer is healthy and is playing well. If he's not healthy or if he's not playing well, that's where that could cost them a few games, including against the Seahawks, whether it's in Seattle or in Phoenix or in Glendale, I guess is where they play. So,
All right, let's move on to the NFC South.
indeed.
Obviously, the Falcons returning this year, made it to the Super Bowl last year. Then they blew it, 28-3.
Yeah.
Panthers 2 years removed from a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Your guys' thoughts on this prediction or this division?
Yeah, I've got the Falcons winning it again with a 12-4 record. I have the Buccaneers finishing 11-5 and getting one of the wild card spots.
What do you have them?
11-5.
Wow.
The Panthers 9-7, and the Saints going 6-10.
Man, I have Atlanta going 11-5. I don't think there's going to be a Super Bowl hangover for Atlanta. I think that I really think they're going to flush that out, and I think it'd be anything. I think it'll motivate them to play better this year. I have them going 11-5. I think Carolina has a bounce back year. They go 10-6. I still like Cam Newton. Still a relatively young quarterback. He's not a grizzled veteran yet. New Orleans 8-8. You got Drew Brees, but you have no defense. And then Tampa Bay 6-10. I've been watching Hard Knocks. I don't buy the hype about this team. Look, they got some talent on offense. I'll give you that, but that defense doesn't really scare me. And I still think that Jameis Winston. He's got talent, no doubt about it, but he's not there yet. I think next year will be the year the Buccaneers are a playoff team, but not this year. 6-10.
Yeah, I had this as my most competitive division. I think I have each team going at least 500. I wasn't quite sold on the Bucs either. I know they were like a win away from making the playoffs last year, but I'm not a big Jameis fan. But then I was going through their schedule, and I still had them going 10-6. That said, I don't have them making the playoffs. I have both the Panthers and Falcons going 11-5, with the Panthers winning the division, and then the Saints finishing 8-8, Bucs 10-6. So probably the first or second best division in the entire league, depending on what you think of the AFC West, which we'll get to in a little bit. NFC North, I think it's all pretty clear who's going to win this division.
Homer.
Yeah.
Homer.
Right.
But I'll let you guys go ahead first with your records here.
I've got the Packers going 13-3 and winning this one. What a mess of a division, really. The Vikings, could be better, but Sam Bradford's their quarterback, so you kind of have to temper expectations. I have the Vikings and Lions both going 7-9, and the Bears going 2-14.
Wow. I've got Green Bay going 12-4. I've got Detroit and Minnesota each going 8-8, and I got the Bears going 4-12.
So I have Green Bay going 13-3. Then I'm higher on the Vikings than both you guys. I have them going 10-6, and then both the Lions and Bears going 4-12. Obviously, the Lions were in the playoffs last year. We all know how many close games they had. They pretty much won every single one of those close games. I don't think there's a chance, especially because their defense is still bad, that they are that fortunate this year. So I think they're going to miss the playoffs by quite a large margin. As a Packers fan, the Vikings definitely worry me. Their defense is as good as any team in the league. And I like Dalvin Cook. I think he's going to put a spark in that offense. If their offensive line is not totally brutal and maybe just mediocre, no matter what you think of Sam Bradford, they should be in the mix.
Yeah.
NFC East. Obviously, the Cowboys were the story of the NFL last year, surprising everybody. Only 2 losses came against their bitter rival, the New York Giants, I believe.
Yeah.
What do you guys think here?
I have the Giants winning the NFC East this year with an 11-5 mark. I think the defense is getting better. Of course, Eli now has tons of weapons around him. I think Paul Perkins will be a nice. I think he'll have a nice year at running back. That'll give him a nice change of pace from the passing game. And of course, they have Odell. They have Brandon Marshall, Sterling Shepard still there, so they have some options to play with in the passing game. I had the Cowboys going 10-6, still making the playoffs, but a drop off from last year. I think the defense will take a step back. The offense should stay strong, but if Ezekiel Elliott has to serve that entire 6-game suspension, that's going to be quite a blow for them. I have the Eagles going 7-9, and the Redskins going 6-10 to round out the NFC East.
Okay, I have the Cowboys dropping off a little bit from last year's 13-3. I got them 11-5. The loss of Elliott, if they do lose him for the 6 games, or whether they lose him if they reduce the suspension, they have a little bit of an effect. But I think the Cowboys. I just think they caught a lot of people by surprise last year when they went 13-3, and certain things are going to happen. But 11-5, they're going to win the division. Giants 10-6. I mean, like Robert said, they've got some great talent on offense. Defense is solid, but I think that Dallas just nips them out by a game. And then I've got Philly and Washington each going 8-8. It's such a great division. I think arguably that may be one of the best divisions in football, if not the best. I just think from top to bottom, there's some. You've got very good quarterbacks on all 4 teams, and it's going to be a dogfight. And like I said, both when you're going to be in the basement, and you're 8-8. That's pretty darn respectable. They're going to feast outside that division, that's for sure.
Definitely one of the most unpredictable divisions in the league. This is a tough one. Robert, you had the Giants. Chris, you had the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. I have the Philadelphia Eagles winning the division.
What are you drinking?
Shocking the league, going 12-4.
Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz lead. That defense is very good.
Wow.
Okay.
Easiest schedule in the division. And I just, I'm not a believer, despite the weapons around Eli Manning, that he'll be able to perform. He worries me. I have the Giants going 8-8. Cowboys, I think they take a major step back. Still kind of in the thick of the things for the wild card, but I have them going 9-7, and then the Redskins 6-10. Sorry, Kirk.
Wow, that's a surprise.
What are you drinking, Chris says?
Eagles 12-4. Wow,
12-4.
That's the story of the podcast right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's your headline.
Wham.
All right. So that wraps it up for the NFC. Let's move over to the AFC. And let's start westward. AFC West, another one of the most competitive divisions in the league. Curious what you guys think.
I think this is the best division in football, by the way, from top to bottom. But go ahead, Robert.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I agree with your assessment, Mr. Sciria. I have the Raiders going 13-3, the Chiefs 9-7, but getting into the wild card. Chargers 8-8, and Broncos 7-9. I think the big thing with the Broncos is quarterback play. They could finish better, but Trevor Siemian, what version of him is going to show up? He had some good games last year, but he just didn't have that consistency. They're going to ride it out with him at quarterback. So if the offense struggles, that's going to hurt them. As good as this defense is, it's not like having Peyton Manning at quarterback. You need to make some plays and you need to have a running game. And I don't think the Broncos have a strong enough offense to overcome those deficiencies right now. So.
Well, it's like having Peyton Manning in his last season.
Yeah, in the Super Bowl. Yeah.
All right. I've got the Raiders winning the division 11-5. I'm not sure about Marshawn Lynch, though. I mean, he's been off for a year. You don't know how that layoff's going to affect him. He is older, but I think with Carr and the other weapons they have, that the Raiders are the best team in the division, 11-5. Kansas City 10-6. I think they could overtake the Raiders for the division, but they're going to miss out by a game. They're just a solid football team on both sides of the football. I've got Denver going 9-7. The quarterback situation is a cause for concern, but that defense is great. Plus, I think they got one of the best home field advantages in all of the NFL. Mile High is a tough place to play for an opponent with the altitude and everything. I think that always helps out Denver sometimes. So they're 9-7. Chargers 8-8. I just think they're too inconsistent on both sides of the football. I mean, this is a team I know. Well, I don't want to take away Justin's thunder, but I get it. I get what people see in the Chargers. I understand why, but I still think that this team, it's a 500 team. There's too many flaws in certain positions where they're just not a playoff team, and they're going to go 8-8. And I'll leave it at that.
Well, I disagree with you.
I know you disagree with me. I wrote it. I wrote that. Well, we'll talk about that.
I made a bold proclamation about a month ago.
Yeah, and I wrote that baby down because I want to hold on to that one.
So. Probably not as bold as my Eagles prediction, but I do have the Chargers winning the division at 10-6. Raiders falling down a little bit, going to 9-7. Chiefs also at 9-7, and the Broncos 6-10. Chris, I totally hear you on your concerns about the Chargers.
Yeah.
I don't think you brought this up just now, but you also mentioned the kind of hectic nature of being a team that had to move.
Mm-hmm.
I think I heard Phillip Rivers he didn't move to Los Angeles. He's commuting
he's got a
2
driver.
hours a day.
He's taking a limo.
So maybe he's got like an audio book where he's going to listen to the playbook every day. I don't know. I just think this team every year gets knocked down because they just lose significant players to injury. It kind of points to the inconsistency that you mentioned. It's like one of these years they got to catch a break and stay healthy. I mean, I know they're not off to a great start. They lost two of their top picks have been dealing with injury stuff. Mike Williams, the wide receiver, and then Forrest Lamp, the offensive lineman. But I don't know. I'm buying their receiving core. I think Hunter Henry is going to step up as a kind of the Antonio Gates replacement. Keenan Allen's back, and then the duo at pass rush, Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram. I think they're going to be,
Yeah, and that's a reason to have optimism. Absolutely, but like I said, I think like you just said, the moving, everything else. I just think they're going to. I mean, look, they're playing in a 30,000 seat stadium. And I mean, that's not going to be much of a home field advantage. I mean, if the
place is rocking,
yeah, and maybe rocking with a lot of other teams' fans too. I'm serious. We're gonna see that on
definitely when the Raiders play there.
Well, absolutely the Raiders, and I'm telling you, the Dolphins play there week 2. That's their first game of the season. And last year when they played in San Diego, there were a good number of Dolphin fans there. There are a lot of Miami fans in Southern California, and I'm telling you, you're gonna hear them in that game in Los Angeles in a couple of weeks, so we'll see.
Saying boo Cutler.
Yeah, we'll see.
Smoking Jay.
Cutler and Rivers. Boy, what a quarterback matchup, huh?
Yeah. We'll get to the Dolphins division in a minute.
Yes.
But let's switch over to the AFC South. Robert, your picks.
I've got the Titans winning it with an 11-5 record. Texans, the runner-up here, with a 9-7 record. And I have the Colts and Jaguars both finishing 5-11. I think with the Colts, Andrew Luck being out week 1 has to be a concern for them. How healthy is he going to be this season? And he's really the make or break factor for them. If he's not in there, they're not going to win many games. So.
Alrighty, Houston 10-6. I think that's mostly because of their defense. I think by the end of the season, Deshaun Watson will be the starting quarterback, and I think he'll make a little bit of a difference. But Houston's going to live and die with its defense. I mean, that is a great defense they have there. Tennessee 9-7. I have to admit, I thought about picking Tennessee maybe 11-5 or 10-6, but not sure about their defense. I mean, obviously Marcus Mariota's come into his own as a quarterback, and I believe they have DeMarco Murray as their main running back. Yeah, I mean, they're a good team, no doubt about it. But I just think 9-7. Indy 6-10. I mean, like you were just saying, with Andrew Luck being hurt and everything. I mean that is what's going on in Indy is an absolute shame. This is a team that should be dominating this division. They should be coming into their own if they had better talent, and they don't have it. And there's an issue there. So I think 6-10, and then Jacksonville. I think the Doug Marrone era, the Tom Coughlin era. It's going to take some time. 5-11. It's going to be a few years before they're completely relevant again. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty high like Robert on the Titans. I have them going 12-4. Texans also making the playoffs, going 10-6, and then Jaguars 5-11, Colts 4-12. I really want to like the Jaguars because I think their roster as a whole is very talented. Mm-hmm. I think that defense is underrated and they could come into their own this year, but. When you're watching video clips of wide receivers making snarky comments about Blake Bortles and Chad Henne, and it's just
yeah.
If you have the worst player on the field is your quarterback, you're just not going to win. And then the Colts, they could have kept Andrew Luck on the PUP, which would have guaranteed him to be out 6 weeks. They didn't do that, so who knows if he misses a week? He could miss 3 weeks. He could miss 5. It's just not a very talented roster, and that's evident by all these guys they've been shipping out of town. These recent draft picks like Philip Dorsett. I just rebuilding year for them, and maybe this new GM will get that franchise on track. AFC North.
Yeah, I've got the Steelers winning this 13-3 record. Bengals kind of rebounding from last year, going 11-5. I've got the Ravens slipping to 7-9. I got the Browns. Browns have a tough schedule. I think the Browns are trying to figure their way back, but I got them going 2-14.
All right, I got the Steelers winning division 12-4. Baltimore 10-6. I think Joe Flacco's the difference there. Cincinnati 9-7. There's some of the Bengals, man. They get so much potential, but they just don't seem to put it together. I don't know whether it's the players just making stupid mistakes sometimes, and there's some character issues there. But I got them going to 9-7. I got Cleveland going 4-12.
I have the Cleveland Browns finishing 3-13.
All right. Jesus.
Let's not get crazy.
I was gonna say.
No, I'm with you guys. The Steelers are pretty much the runaway winner here for me at 12-4. I have the Ravens going 10-6. The Bengals 6-10, and like I said, the Browns 3-13.
If you would pick Cleveland to win that division, not only would I have checked what you were drinking, I would have had you drug tested. We would have been going to LabCorp right after this podcast and get you tested. All right.
Hey, they are on the way up, though. I think we can all agree.
Well, because they can't get any worse, really.
That's true.
They really have hit rock bottom. I mean, look, they got a young quarterback in Kaiser. They're doing things. They're making an effort, no doubt about it. But it takes time, and it's going to take a while, and so it's going to be a while. That's basically what it comes down to. I don't think there's any quick fixes in the NFL. I think it takes minimum 2 to 3 years to turn yourself around from being an absolute garbage team to a team that can contend. Not saying win the Super Bowl, but contend. So we'll see.
All right, guys. The division all the listeners have been waiting for.
Indeed.
The AFC East.
Well, this one I've got the Patriots going 15-1.
Do you know who the one loss is?
Actually, I do.
Yeah, the Bills. Of course. There you go.
Oh, no. I have them walking over the AFC East. I've got the Dolphins going 7-9. All these Miami types, like my colleague to my right. That
would be Chris.
Yeah, I was going to say they can't see us, Robert.
likes to bloviate about Cutler and Gase and the bromance there. But the fact of the matter is that Cutler's been to one playoff. Well, one year that he qualified for the playoffs with the Bears. So let's temper expectations a little bit. I've got the Bills going 5-11. Tank, whatever. I think they're rebuilding, if you will. In fact, they could even do worse than that.
And the Jets.
And then the Jets, 0-16.
Whoa!
You heard it here.
Yes.
The donut.
You heard it here first.
The donut. All right. You want to expound on any of these, or are you ready for me to unleash my selections?
Just with the Jets, really it comes down to the quarterback situation, and I don't think their offense is terrible, but you look at both sides of the ball, and they need some work, and they need to tank in order to rebuild this team. They need to start from scratch, and I think that's why they kept Todd Bowles around. They see the writing on the wall. This will be his last year. I'd be surprised if he made it through the season, honestly.
All right. So I've got New England going 14-2. I mean, it's amazing that this team got better from last year. I mean, on paper, that they did things to, get better. And I hate doing that. I really hate picking New England to go 14-2, but it's just their defense is just so tough. And then Tom Brady, I mean, I don't know what this guy does. I mean, I know he doesn't eat any junk food, and he's eating kale, and he's just getting IVs of avocado juice or something. I don't know, but I mean, it's just it's just unbelievable what this guy's doing at the age of 40. I mean, the thing about quarterbacks in that age is that usually their legs are going on them.
Wow, you're spending a lot of time on the Patriots.
Well, that's the best team. I mean, Tom Brady, as long as Tom Brady is upright, I mean, they're going to be a contender. There's no doubt about it.
Okay.
I mean, okay. I got Miami going 9-7. I could say 8-8. Maybe that's the safe bet, but I got 9-7. I still think that Cutler and Gase, you can whatever you want to say about them, but I think that's going to help this team out. And the defense, that's the problem. Linebackers are weak on this team. Timmons and Kiko Alonso have got to be healthy. Miami's offensive line can be. There's times it can be really good, and then if injuries hit, they're going to be in trouble. The depth on the offensive line, but I mean, you got a great wide receiver. I think arguably one of the best wide receiving cores in all of the NFL, with Landry, Parker, and Stills. And I think they're going to get. I think they're going to get 9 wins, but it's going to be tough, and they're not going to make the playoffs, unfortunately. But I think 9-7. I've got the Bills going 6-10. You got Shady McCoy. You got Tyrod Taylor. I think that's going to count for something. The defense obviously is going to be an issue, but 6-10, and I got the Jets going 2-14. They're going to win 2 games. Maybe they'll beat the Bills twice. No, I think they'll get. I think they'll get 2 wins somewhere. I think maybe sometime November, December, someone's going to be looking past them. You never know, but I think they're going to get 2 wins at least. So.
I think they do play the Browns at one point.
Yeah.
So that'll be a heck of a game.
Toilet bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm pretty much with you guys as far as the Patriots go. They should run away with this division, and probably the AFC. I have them going 13-3, and as far as the other teams, this isn't to troll you guys, but I'm not super high on either of your teams. I have the Bills going 5-11 and finishing in second place in the division.
Get out of here! No, I am going to have you drug tested.
I have the Dolphins going 4-12.
Get out of here! Are you, dude? That's. I'm gonna have to get you 4-12. Okay.
That was savage.
Okay, tell me what you think the Jets are gonna do, and then tell me why you think Miami's gonna go 4-12.
I have the Jets also going 0-16.
Yes. All right. So how do the Dolphins go 4-12?
All right. So I literally went through each week of the season,
right,
and picked a winner for each game that is being played each week in the 2017 season. That's just what I came up with. I can't remember specifically who they play or whatever. That just as a whole, I really have the AFC. It's just a weaker conference. I think the NFC as a whole is going to beat up on a lot of these AFC teams. And after watching Jay Cutler for a number of years, that's the Packers' rival.
That's where it comes from.
One of my favorite videos on YouTube is a 9-minute video of Jay Cutler's interceptions, only to the Packers.
All right, okay. I will say, that's where it's coming from.
Yeah, I will say with the AFC East, this doesn't really apply to the Patriots and not even the Jets really, because we know how bad the Jets are. But for the Bills and Dolphins, one of the tough things this year are those matchups against the AFC West and the NFC South. You're talking about, we all said it here, 2 of the best divisions in football right now, and you've got 8 games against those 2 divisions. That's a rough stretch of football, and it's a rough stretch for the Bills certainly, but also for the Dolphins. I mean, Dolphins, if they have the talent to go back to the playoffs again, but a lot of those matchups, as we know, can go either way.
Right.
They could easily be a 10-6, 11-5 team, or a 4-12 team at this rate. So
4-12. Look, if you had said 6-10, I would have been like,
hey,
I'm not thrilled with that, but I can understand it.
I'll give you this.
4-12.
If I didn't do what I did, if I would have just randomly think this team's gonna have this record, this team's gonna have this record, I probably would have had the Dolphins going somewhere between 9-7 and 7-9. I chose to do it this way, and this is just what I got. I mean, hey, I'm a stats guy. I like doing things this way, and
yeah. But the thing is, though, it's easy to say week 1, this happens. Week 2, but we all know that as the season goes along, we have injuries. We have other situations that come up. You can't say Miami versus this team that they're playing in December and make that pick on what you're seeing in September. I mean, things can change.
4-12. Put it in the
4-12.
books.
Yeah, this is got to pick
Permanent marker.
I'm writing that baby down. I'll tell you that, man. 4-12. Are you kidding me? All right. All right.
All right, folks. Well, Chris is officially
Hey, look,
rattled.
look. I don't. Is Robert is
He's on tilt.
Is Robert? Well, as I've said to Robert many times, I don't wear aqua and orange colored glasses. Okay, I'll be the first person to say, "Hey, yeah, this team is really bad. They're not going to. You know, this is what their record's going to be." And maybe I am being a little optimistic, saying 9-7. Realistically, I think when it's all said and done, it'll be 8-8. But man, 4-12, no way, man, no way. 4-12, no way. So, all right.
Well, you said the Eagles can't go 12-4 either.
Yeah, you're going out on a limb, sir. I'll give you that one. I'll give you that.
All right, so you guys are going to go into our just the playoff teams, and I don't know if you guys have written down who's going to make the championship game, Super Bowl. What do you guys think here?
This is what I did. I got my playoff teams, and I've got the conference championships, the Super Bowl, and then the Super Bowl winner. So, with that being said, obviously New England winning the division in the East, Houston winning the South, Pittsburgh winning the North with Baltimore as a wild card, the Raiders winning the West with Kansas City as a wild card. For the AFC Championship game, I have New England and Pittsburgh, and I have New England winning, obviously. NFC, I've got Dallas winning the division, Giants getting a wild card. In the South, Atlanta winning the division, Carolina is a wild card. In the North, Green Bay winning the division, and in the West, Seattle winning the division. For the conference championship game, I have Dallas versus Green Bay, and I do have Green Bay winning the NFC. So I have New England versus Green Bay in the Super Bowl, and call me crazy, I have New England winning the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Go ahead, Robert.
Well, I've got on the AFC side, I've got the Patriots winning the AFC East. I've got the Raiders winning the AFC West with the Chiefs getting a wild card. AFC North, I have the Steelers winning that division and the Bengals getting a wild card, and then the Titans winning the AFC South. My AFC title game is also the Patriots against the Steelers, with the Patriots winning. On the NFC side, I've got the Giants winning the NFC East, with the Cowboys getting a wild card. NFC North, the Packers cleaning house, getting that division. NFC South, Falcons winning the division, with the Buccaneers getting a wild card, and then the Seahawks winning the NFC West. NFC title game, the Packers against the Seahawks, a rematch of Week 1, with the Packers winning. Patriots-Packers Super Bowl, Patriots winning it all.
Well, we think alike.
Well, guys.
Now we turn it over to the homer over
Packer
here.
fan, yeah.
Packers versus Eagles, NFC title game.
All right. Well, I'll start with the AFC here. Here's my seedings. I have the Patriots, Steelers, Titans, Chargers, in that order as the top 4 seeds, with the Texans and Ravens picking up wild card spots. I have the Patriots and the Steelers meeting in the AFC Championship, with the Patriots winning and going to another Super Bowl.
Wow.
In the NFC, I have, man, I hate to be a homer, but I got the Packers as the top seed, Seahawks second seed, Eagles, Panthers as the other division winners, with the Cardinals and Falcons getting wild cards. I have the Packers and the Seahawks, like you guys, in the NFC Championship. I wrote down here Packers over Seahawks, but there's no way the Packers are going to win this game if all 3 of us say they're going to win. So,
You're flip-flopping?
To be honest, I really think
Wow.
that Seahawks defense, whether it's in Seattle, whether it's in Green Bay, it's going to be tough to move the ball.
Wow.
I just, I think the Seahawks, they're a tough team, and I think we'll get another classic like we did a few years ago. I hope I'm wrong, but I think we're going to get another Seahawks-Patriots Super Bowl. And then I have the Seahawks getting some revenge for not running the ball and beating the Patriots.
Wow.
Team to watch this year, though, is the Raiders. I think the Raiders, if that defense can be better than it was last year, I think they could give the Patriots a run for their money.
Oh, I think I agree. I mean, look, the idea is that to beat New England, you got to get pressure on Tom Brady. It's that simple, and it's tough when he's throwing quick outs. Okay, Now, what's going to be interesting this year is that they've gotten some deep threats. And to throw the deep ball, you've got to drop back, and you're going to be exposed.
You need some time.
And Tom Brady he might be taking some more hits than he did last year when he was throwing those quick outs to Edelman and Amendola and Hogan. Okay, that's going to be interesting to see if there's any impact on that with Brady. So we'll see. But I still think New England's going to win the whole thing.
Robert and I talked about this on the very first podcast about the Patriots' chances of going 16-0.
Not going to happen.
Both of us, I think, said that that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Just some things that hang me up a little bit about them. Obviously, we all have them going to the Super Bowl game, but they have lost Julian Edelman. Mm-hmm. He's, for what the Patriots do on offense with all those short to intermediate routes, he's a big part of that. He's gone. Just penciling in Gronkowski to play the full season, always dubious. If he gets hurt at the wrong time,
Didn't hurt him too much last year, though.
No, that's last year, though. They had Edelman last year. It took the Patriots. Their offense wasn't great at the end of the regular season. I know because Tom Brady was on my fantasy team. He didn't do squat. They have a deep running back core. We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, I think and Tom Brady is 40 years old. There is no precedent for a quarterback playing great as a 40-year-old. So we'll see. I mean, at the end of the day, we all still have them going to the Super Bowl, but thinking there's some unbeatable team, I think, we'll see.
Yeah, I think the big thing with the Patriots is the defense and some of the big additions that they've made through free agency. I think Stephon Gilmore from the Bills. I've watched Gilmore play for the last several years, and he's a good corner, but he has his moments where he'll give up big plays. Last year, he gave up plenty of deep throws on his side of the field, and that's something that with some of the teams that the Patriots will be going up against. I think of the Raiders, I think of the Steelers with Big Ben, for example. You're talking quarterbacks who can throw a pretty good deep ball, and you need those cornerbacks to shut those plays down. So I think that's really the big question mark for them, because even with Brady, I mean, they've got a good running back core there. They scooped up Mike Gillislee. They still have James White. They picked up Rex Burkhead for some reason. So I think they'll still be able to move the ball. But yeah, the big question with Brady is, you're 40. Can you keep this up? I mean, we're really into uncharted waters with this, and people are still acting like it's almost like he turned 30. And people are like, oh, Tom Brady will be fine.
40's a new 30.
Yeah.
Hey, when it happens, when you fall off the cliff, you fall off a cliff. I mean, it's not a gradual thing. We saw that with Brett Favre.
Right.
But you guys have any closing remarks? I know you'll be doing
our videos.
Your video, which will actually be online before this podcast. So
it's okay. We won't do season predictions. We'll just do the games.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
I
final
think
thoughts.
we're good, man. I think we're good. 4-12, really, man.
Really? What's your big matchup for this week? What are you guys looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to the Raiders-Titans game. I think that's a game that you're talking two of the up-and-coming teams, really. I mean, the Raiders were good last year, but, let's face it, they sucked well before that. So, they're still up-and-coming. Titans have a good young team. That's a great Week 1 matchup. I thought the Dolphins-Buccaneers would have been a great Week 1 matchup, too. So.
Yeah. Giants-Cowboys is going to be a fun one, no doubt about that. I mean, obviously, Seattle-Green Bay, we discussed. Philly at Washington should be interesting. Baltimore-Cincinnati, and like Robert said, Oakland-Tennessee.
So basically all of Week 1 for you?
That's going to be a Red Zone Channel day, that's for darn sure. Andrew Siciliano and me are going to be close.
Any chance the Chiefs win tomorrow?
No.
No, I don't think so. Not in that.
If that game was in Kansas City,
yes, they'd have a chance, but not in New England on opening night. No.
All right, guys.
I'm taking the over on that one.
We'll close up shop here. All these predictions are now going to be over the airwaves. Everybody will know at the end of the year if we were smart or stupid.
Indeed.
4-12.
Chris and I are going to get off the air and just decide some sort of bet on that 4-12 prediction.
Yeah, there may be a beverage involved in that one.
Chris will take the coffee.
or
I'll
a
take the
goatee.
cold one.
Yeah, they'll get you in here. Don't worry about that.
All right. Well, until next time, this has been the Citizen NFL podcast with Robert Harding, Chris Sciria, and Justin Ritzel. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.